Section 5.2 is called Polynomials, Linear Factors, and Zeros. The basic concept here is to be able to switch between factored form and standard form. Standard form switching to factored form switching to standard form. So we did this in the last chapter where we had quadratics. We need to think about the fact that x plus 4 and then x plus 2 multiplied together is the same thing as x squared plus 6x plus 8. So we need to be comfortable switching between the two forms. So this would be standard form, and this over here would be factored form. So the difference is we're going to do this with larger exponents, like x to the third, x to the fourth, etc. So example 1 is write in factored form. X cubed plus x squared minus 12x. So this is a cubic polynomial, and more specifically a cubic trinomial, because it has 3 terms, 1, 2, 3 terms. So we're going to factor this into linear factors, or which just means we're going to factor completely and make it be x's. By x plus 4 is a linear factor because x is a linear, because it's just x, and then x squared is quadratic. So we're changing it from this quadratic form to 2 linear factors. But this has x cubed in it. So how do we do that when it's x cubed is the main question. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take out an x, because that's the greatest common factor, which reduces it down to x squared plus x minus 12. So if you multiply this back together, you would get the original. Then we drop the x down and we factor it a second time. So we get x, and then 6 and 2 wouldn't work to make the 1. It needs to be 3 and 4. Plus 4 minus 3. So this is factored form. It's factored. And then this one up here is standard form. It's all multiplied out. So switching between the two, going from here to here or from here back to there, is something we need to be comfortable with. So just like we practice a whole bunch with quadratics, here's a cubic and we're switching it between the two forms. Why do we want to switch it between the two forms? Because when it's factored, then we can solve by setting each factor equal to 0. So example number 2 is name the zeros of the function. Y equals x minus 3, x plus 4, and x minus 1. So if we want to name the zeros of the function, we want to figure out what values of x make the function equal to 0. So since it's already factored, I can use the zero product proper t. But since there's 3 parts, I like to call it the zero product proper super t. So I actually make 3 compartments. X minus 3 equals 0, x plus 4 equals 0, and x minus 1 equals 0. So I have 3 compartments, or instead of 2, like with quadratics, you just have 2 things that you set equal to 0. Now I have 3 parts I set equal to 0. So we move the 3 over, x equals 3. Move the 4 over, x equals negative 4. Move the 1 over, x equals 1. So I have 3 solutions. These are all the zeros of the function. These numbers make the function y equals equal to 0. And you can call it y equals or f of x. No matter how you slice it or dice it, it's a function because you put a number in and you get back another number. Example 3. Example 3 is write a polynomial Okay, example 3, write a polynomial in standard form. with the given zeros. So these are the places where this function is going to cross the x-axis. So we have x equals 1, x equals -1, x equals 4. So these are the three solutions. So in the last problem, we had the factors, right? So we went from the factors down to the three solutions. Now we're going to go from the three solutions back up to here, and we're even going to take it one step further. We're going to go to standard form. So we're going to multiply it all back together. So it'd be like this one where it's factored form, we multiply it all back together, we head back to standard form. So we're going to go from factored form to standard form, but first we have to create the answers. Oh, and I think it's time for some random spinning. Woo! Woo! Flip it over. Woo! Isn't that exciting? All right. So if this is x equals 1, we're going to subtract the 1 over, and it came from the factor x minus 1, right? And that would be equal to 0. And then we would add the 1 over to go 100% backwards. So this looked like x plus 1. And then we'd subtract the 4 over, x minus 4. So now I've just created a polynomial that's going to have these answers, because you'd set each one of these equal to 0. So I'm going 100% backwards from the last example. So then I'm going to now multiply this all together, because this is in factored form right now. So this is all factored. So I'm going to change it from factored form to standard form. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply these two together first. All right, and then this guy right here, he's going to hang out and wait. Okay, so he's just going to sit there and wait. I'm going to multiply these together first. So y is equal to x minus 1. And here we go, the FOIL process. First times first, x squared. Outside, inside, last. Now this is an important step right here. You want to put these together, because if you don't put those together, you're going to get a really long thing. So to finish this off, we're going to bring these two terms together. That's very important. Drop down the x squared minus, you got -4 things, and you add 1 to it, so we're still in the negative, and then -4, drop that down. Now we're going to distribute the x and the -1, making one big long set of terms here, and then simplify. So x will multiply by all three of these terms, so it'll be x cubed -3x squared minus 4x. Now we're going to bring the -1 times all these terms, and that's basically going to flip all of the signs and make them be opposite. So it's -x squared plus 3x and plus 4. Now there's, let's see, 6 terms here. They will simplify together. X cubed is the first term. Now x squared, there's a couple of those. We borrow $3 and we borrow $1, so we owe 4. Then we put together the x's. We owe $4, we pay 3 towards our debt, so we still owe 1. And you can put the 1 there or not put the 1 there, either way. And then the 4, you can see clearly it's left by itself. So this is the answer. This is in standard form. And so you can see what we've done here. Like this page here, we had standard form, we switch it to factor form, and if you multiply it together, you go around. So it's a big circle. It's a circle of polynomial life. And if I had my inner Elton John going, I would sing the whole thing to you. So what's going on here is we've got factored form, and we switch factored form into standard form, and then eventually we'll be able to take standard form and go through a process of dividing it up and switch it to factored form, so that we can set each of our factors equal to 0 to find our solutions. So we're trying to, well, eventually we will be solving higher order polynomials like x cubed, x to the 4th power, and all that stuff. All right, peace out.